The parable of the Good Samaritan is a very well-known story, and it's given rise to a term that I think just about everybody knows, which is Good Samaritan. And that is something that we use to describe people who stop by and help people that they don't necessarily know out of the goodness of their heart. We have laws in our country called Good Samaritan laws that protect individuals when they go and they help somebody, but that person gets hurt or whatever. So we have this concept, and when we hear the term Samaritan, we tie in this idea that it means somebody who's helping out. But that's really not what was the case back in the time of this story. The Samaritans were a subsect of Judaism that was resulted from a mixing of Jews and Arabs who lived in that area, and they didn't follow the Jewish religion the way that the Jews themselves did. They didn't worship at the Temple Mount specifically. They chose to worship at a different location, and this goes all the way back to when Israel was split into two kingdoms, the Kingdom of Israel and the Kingdom of Judah. And as a result, the Jews, they didn't like them, and the Samaritans in turn didn't really like the Jews. And so to a Jewish man, which Jesus was talking to in the story, the very idea of a good Samaritan is just completely foreign to him. To them, there are those heretics over there, there's those terrible people who are not, like us, who are God's people, and therefore they're just evil and they're horrible. But these other characters in the story, the priest and the Levite, well, they are good. They're the religious elite. They're the very representation of what it means to be Jewish. Surely they are who they should be. And the message that Jesus is trying to get across here by casting these characters in this way is that to be a good neighbor, to be a neighbor to somebody, to love those around you, that is an action. That is something you do, and it's not about your background. It's not about your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, or anything like that. The person who acts like a neighbor in this story is the one who actually expresses and acts on that love for that individual. Nowadays, we have plenty of individuals who need help, and plenty of individuals as well who are very willing to bring up and mention what is going on that needs to be taken care of to help these individuals. But I often see that outside of getting up on our social media soapboxes and bringing awareness, we don't often take the next step to actually do something, to do actions. And I understand in some cases it seems very easy to say that, well, the problem I'm talking about is so big I can't deal with it. But is that really always the case, or are we just trying to be lazy and get the rush of people patting us on the back and telling us what a wonderful person we are because we happen to share political beliefs that they agree with? When it comes to big issues, things like poverty, yes, it's true. You're not going to solve poverty by yourself, and you're probably, even if you had a group of people together, wouldn't be able to completely solve it as well. But you can go and you can, help a family that you happen to know of or find out about who is struggling with finances to, cover food. You can bring food to them. You can do anything like that. Yes, you're not going to solve racism. That is something that has been around, since the very beginning of time. In fact, this very story we are listening to is tinged with this individual's racist attitudes, but you yourself can do what you can to treat those around you with respect and to call out those who aren't in that way. Encourage people when they are acting in a wrong pattern to divert and go in a different direction. You can show support for your friends when they're encountering issues like this. I mean, there are many things that you can actually do that aren't necessarily big that will solve the whole problem or anything like that, but do matter and do make an impact in that specific situation. I mean, I don't think when Jesus tells this story that the priest and the Levite, when they were walking by this man beaten on the side of the road, were thinking to themselves, oh, well, screw that guy. I am not going to help him out at all. I think that they probably were concerned about their own ritual purity, and they probably also thought, well, maybe I can pull some strings, maybe I can get somebody to try and deal with the bandits in this area, well, we need more security here or whatever. I don't think that they went away and then didn't engage with that sort of situation or anything. I think that they probably did have that individual on their mind and might have even talked about and complained about, the security on the roads in Israel and the job that the Roman Empire is doing. But the point is that they didn't stop and help the guy. So I want to encourage all of you, if you have something that you're passionate about, if there's something that that you see that is a problem in the world that you feel necessary to speak out about, don't just speak out about it. Go and do something. Find something, some sort of way to do something within that bigger issue that you can do and achieve and can help at least one person. Yes, it won't necessarily fix the big problem, but if enough people do that type of stuff, it probably will. And if we all do that type of stuff in that way, even if we don't fix that problem, by doing that very thing, you are acting as a good neighbor to those around you, like the Good Samaritan in this story. Amen. And now I'd like to invite you all to join me for our last worship song today.